Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1265, written by Wild Goose 424. Lost keys reappear 18 months later in an unbelievable place. Back in 2015, I lost my car keys in the snow at my mother's house. I had to have my fiance come bring me the spare keys just so I could drive home. They were gone forever. At best, I hope maybe they turn up when the snow melted in the spring. Fast forward 18 months, my sister got a promotion at work. She got a new desk that they hauled out of a storage room to her office on the 9th floor. She sits down to get settled in, opens the desk drawer, and inside, just sitting there like they belonged, were my lost car keys. 50 miles away from where I lost them. We were both in total disbelief. She called me in the middle of the day from work because she was utterly shocked by it. It was freaky as hell, and to this day all we can do is laugh because how do you explain that? It freaked me out enough that I wouldn't take the keys back after she found them. They're hanging in our entryway now, years later, an homage to the weird universe. Case notes for file 1265. Lost keys reappear 18 months later in an unbelievable place. So it's an homage to a weird universe indeed. Yep, truth in that. There's no explaining events like this away. Not with the hand wave that most use. You know, the type like, oh, it's no big deal, the keys just bounced 50 miles into her desk. Makes sense? No, it doesn't. Sometimes I wonder what it will take to convince people. But then I think maybe most people don't want to be convinced that there's more going on than immediately meets the eye. It's too terrifying. Creepy file number 114, written by OK Investigator 4590. The chilling conspiracy in my military school. In January 2020, before the pandemic hit, I signed up and went off to military school. I don't know how others operate, but I'm sure this one was like any other, nothing real special or different about it. Now I know it's a joke, or maybe not so much as a joke, but a rumor that these types of places will brainwash you into becoming an obedient lapdog. I'd say it's true if you consider the few times recruiters talk to you and propaganda posters as brainwashing. But this incident made me feel like there was something more behind the scenes. This was only our third week, and we're attending what is essentially our extracurricular class like usual. Normally, it being military school, we follow strict conduct, but whenever we were alone with our instructor, it'd be like any other American classroom. They always said the sergeants and instructors don't work with each other, so we cut loose. Though I feel that's an obvious lie to get the cadets to act out or say something. As we're informally talking in class, the instructor talks about the projects we will be doing. We were in what essentially was a Firefighter 101 class. I just remembered him discussing with other students that he seemed energized. Just as everyone seemed to be talking or laughing at the same time, he said, "Alright guys, time to check out this video." He clicked it on and it began playing from the projector. It started off as what I could only describe as an alternate version of the Warner Bros. Logo, the one with the buildings that form into the WB badge thing. Except it was off, it seemed distorted, the coloring was gritty and old. It felt wrong too, like you were watching some hidden tape not meant to be seen by anyone. And for some reason, your eyes were just glued to it, as if your vision was buffering all your life and you finally found a slot to put it in, like you just snapped on and couldn't get it off. It got deathly quiet, which is the only reason I ended up breaking my gaze. I sat at the very back of the class and could see everyone. And they just sat staring blankly at the screen, like brain-dead vegetables. It really felt like something out of a horror movie, and as I combed the classroom, I soon locked eyes with our instructor, who was already looking at me. He whispered, "Shh, they're sleeping." Case notes for the creepy file number 114, the chilling conspiracy in my military school. That last line? What the hell? Reminds me of the 1984 paragraphs involving Winston and O'Brien. Locking eyes, that look, knowing Winston was different, just going along with the flow and pretending, but his mind was not fully absorbed into the propaganda. He couldn't hold two opposing views simultaneously. They were in conflict and they would always be at war. Now, I don't know if this military school was truly trying to brainwash anyone. That'd be hard to accept, wouldn't it? And yet strangely not unbelievable either. Maybe it wasn't trying to brainwash. Maybe it was a test to see who could be brainwashed and who couldn't. And you proved that you weren't susceptible to that kind of subliminal messaging. Most people are, but some people aren't. A small portion cannot be hypnotized, for instance. Bonus file written by SirCotesalot. Gamers via Shadow. I used to live in a very creepy house. Soda cans would fall off tables randomly and then roll away, or I'd hear footsteps in the hallway. One time, my best friend and I were up super late playing video games, and when you see something move in the corner of your eye, like a shadow or something, and when you look directly at it, it's usually nothing? Well, that happened. I saw movement. It was like hiding behind the couch right next to us. I didn't look at first. I thought it was nothing, but then my friend kinda glanced over. I asked him, "Did you see that too?" Him, "Bro, what the hell?" After that, we both stood there and there was nothing behind the couch. But by far, the creepiest thing that ever happened to me was when I decided not to go on a day-long road trip with my family. I was home alone for a good number of hours and I took a small nap, like maybe an hour or two. After that, I woke up and played Skyrim and forgot all about that day. But about 2 weeks later, I'm going through my phone's gallery and there was a picture of me sleeping on that day when I was completely, utterly alone. When I first saw the picture, it didn't click in. I just didn't understand why there was a picture of my back. The photo was taken as if they were standing in the middle of my room. I was facing away towards the wall. All you could really see was the white shirt I had on and the back of my head. Something was off about it. I still remembered the chills when it finally clicked that I was home alone that day. I locked the doors before I went to my room. Even remembering it now gives me chills. There was more crap that happened too. One time, while my family was having a small get-together, my nephew, who was around 2 or 3, old enough to be walking and talking, wandered into my room by himself. He started screaming incoherently at first. We thought he had fallen or something. My mom got to him first. He was crying too hard to talk, but as he calmed, he started saying, "The bad man is gonna get me. The bad man is gonna get me." I didn't sleep in that room anymore. It took 2 months, but we moved after that. Slept in the living room with the night lights on everywhere. I was 16 and afraid of the dark. Hell, some nights I slept in my parents' room on the ground because I was so scared of that house. Later I found out that someone had died there. He was a very angry man, apparently. Either way, I was never happier getting the hell out of there. Okay, so that's for the bonus file. Gamers vs. Shadow. I've seen brief, unexplained glimpses in my periphery too while gaming, or just like watching a movie. I always attributed to my mind conjuring them based on whatever game I was playing or what I was watching. Shadows of the subconscious. Maybe that is all they were in my case, but for you, your nephew is undeniable evidence. The younger a child is, past pure toddlerhood, the more they can discern between the veil of the mortal plane and beyond it. If a spirit was lingering behind, angry, bitter, violent, he'd have known. The only silver lining in these cases are that spirits can rarely harm us. They'll put on a bombastic display of power, moving objects around, but I can count on one hand how many stories I've read where someone was actively injured directly from a spirit. I don't know if anyone was ever even killed by one. So not impossible, but clear there's some kind of protection in place that makes it very challenging for a spirit, angry or not, to do us harm. Still, that said, why take the risk, right? Getting out of dangerous situations is always the best call. Plus, you just don't want to live in an area where something doesn't want you there. It's unsettling. And now time for the quote of the day, from 1984. Perhaps one did not want to be loved so much as to be understood. Maybe that is love, or at least part of love, is truly understanding someone else, because there's always this separation between minds. You can't Vulcan mind melt with someone else, right? You can't truly know what they're thinking, but if someone knows who they are, and then someone else truly understands them, that is a connection, a bond that goes beyond any words or actions. To truly know who someone is, there's a tremendous power in that. And while I wouldn't say that's all love is, it is a strong component of it, to truly understand each other. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.